I really just created the world, a lot of the concepts, taught them how Chinese astrology and Batsa, like, I did my best to show how she could actually have superpowers herself.
Kevin, you've made quite the transition from being in front of the camera to creating a non-alcoholic brand to now a WEBTOON. What inspired you to be on this journey?
Kind of what inspired me from this journey was during the pandemic, I got really into self-help, looking into Chinese astrology and Batsa for me to find how I can become a better person. And through that, I started to see that there were these elements and that they all had superpowers and that I was what they call yang metal. And I totally related to these yang metal powers that you'll see in the web series. Strength and durability, they don't have an easy road. Everything's supposed to be super tough because they have to be molded into something that could be forged into good metal. And if they don't go through hardships, then they're useless. And so when I saw this, I said, there's a universe out there. It has everything to do with my Asian identity, inspiration, things that I want to bring to the world. I just started creating things. It turned out people liked it. And so I went on this really crazy journey because I didn't expect so many people to receive Taejin very well. One reason is because growing up, I was very ashamed of my middle name. So my real name is Taejin, I'm adopted, and I really hid that for a long time because I didn't want to be made fun of. So I wanted to embrace my identity more, so I made a character that reflected me, and then here's Taejin. So reality TV got me in front of people, and then it also allowed me to be able to do the things that I really want to pursue. Acting, comics, creation, and that's the journey.
I will say, when you read my, what is it called? Not the astrology.
Chinese Batsa astrology.
Chinese Batsa astrology. It was very accurate. And
Yeah.
I will say, I was blown away by that.
I read a lot of people's astrology charts in here, I think, right? Raise your hand if I read your chart. Come on, like, be honest. Yeah, I read a lot. Read mine. I'll read yours later.
Just, I'm so curious to know, like, your personal experiences or stories that inspired you to create this series, because I know you mentioned about the astrology, but when it comes to the character, were you pulling inspiration from everyday people that you knew?
Yes, so Taejin is really me and how he feels. He wants to save the world, but he doesn't know how. He is angry, quick to anger, which a lot of you guys don't know, but I have that side of me. He's just so like pent up, frustrated for the world. You'll see in the series, he actually helps the police force too, in Philadelphia. So all of that is inspired by my own personal experiences. And I wanted to make Philly people very proud because I left them, obviously. I'm here in LA. And that's where a lot of the inspiration came from even real people.
So when it comes to the cultural elements, I know you mentioned a lot about being inspired by the Chinese astrology. What other roles do they play in your storytelling?
Yeah, so Chinese astrology and Batsa, I met this guy in Malaysia, and he literally just hit me up and just started getting me involved in Chinese astrology and Batsa. And I started to say, like, well, I'm Korean. Is it okay if I tap into Chinese Batsa? Because I'm like, you know how we are in storytelling now. It's like, if you're not Korean, you can't tell Korean stories. If you're not Chinese, don't even go in there. But I'm like, no, fuck it. I'm gonna do it. I literally just said, I'm not gonna follow those rules because those rules are so restricting and confining. Why can't I enjoy Chinese Batsa and astrology, especially if I know about it and it helps other people? And so I wanted to create something that was cultural, but also could help other people. My younger self could see myself in these characters, because I hate to sound like this, but like a lot of my generation's probably screwed when it comes to, like the way we see the world, because we've just seen too much. The younger generation knows nothing. So they're easily influenced seeing these characters that look like them. And so they don't carry that baggage, that trauma. And so it doesn't show up in their art, their acting, their careers, their relationships. So I wanted Taejin to be cross-cultural, like, yeah, it's Chinese Batsa, but this dude's Korean. It's really popular in Korea too, I found out, Chinese Batsa. So when I found that out, I was like, I have to do this. And I'll just make it more authentic because the guy is me, basically, when I was a little kid.
I'm a big believer in intention. People can tell when you are inspired by another culture if there's a lot of love and respect for it. and I'm pretty sure you put a lot of respect
So
in
much
this.
love and respect.
What was your learning curve like for writing and producing a webtoon, and what resources helped you the most?
So the actual writer here is named Nina, if you want to raise your hand. So all my writing and creation came before Nina came along. I really just created the world, a lot of the concepts, taught them how Chinese astrology and Batsa, like I did my best to show how she could actually have superpowers herself by her Chinese Batsa chart. So like wood elements, and so wood is very sturdy. They're usually the most reliable people. I tried to guide them on how these characters could look and feel. I realized webcomics are kind of like Hollywood too. Like they can be delayed, you know, there's so many different things. So it was a huge learning curve. And also too, I had to pitch this to many different studios for comic books. And I didn't realize like it could happen over lunch, you know? So then I was reading the studio people's charts. They loved it. They're like, what are you? And then I started to do it to other people. And actually, you know, by luck, I don't know if this is going to be entering your questions. Ted Kim, if you want to raise your hand. Ted was a huge responsible person in my life for this because I talked to Ted about this and he wanted to see the Koreans win in entertainment and media. And so he said, I know a perfect platform you could have this on. And it was WEBTOON. It's the largest one. It's Korean. Went to dinner, pitched it again. And it was just like, I didn't know you could do this, you know? And then, yeah, you're looking at it right now, right on WEBTOON.
I'm a huge fan of comics, and I think one of my favorite parts about it is the art. Like, I love the art of comics and mangas, and I'm curious about the creative process when it comes to that. Can you describe, working with your team, the creative process for the art, and how did you go from concept to the final product of your WEBTOON series?
Yeah, so the concept started off with just a one-pager. Well, they call it a one-pager. I had to learn what a one-pager was. So it was weird. So when I first pitched it and they wanted it, they're like, let's see the one-pager. I was like, what's a one-pager? Let me Google this. And then I had a writer help me out with a one-pager. I was like, done. Then they're like, well, we want some artwork. I was like, oh, where should I get artwork? So I went on Upwork and just hired somebody for like $20 to do a concept for me, pasted it on there, done. That was a one-pager. What really confused me is because it turned out to be like 5 pages. So it was like, why don't they just call it a pager or something, you know, like pages, you know? Had to go through many different writers to see who we liked, their tones, their past history. And Nina, am I correct? You're a new writer, right? She just graduated, but it was phenomenal, right? Like you just know talent when you see it. And then the artwork, we were looking for something that's manga-ish, but also like younger. And that's where I relied on WEBTOON and the producers because I was like, I haven't been 18 for a long time. Like, what are they looking at? And they know. So I just trusted them on that. And so there was a lot of back and forth of, you know, asking questions, then me just trusting the process. That's how you get a web series.
Amazing. So we're talking about all the fun stuff, but what about the challenges that you had to face? What were some of the most challenging parts of developing your WEBTOON series, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, so one of the challenging parts actually wasn't getting it into people's hands. It was actually the story arc of what's this kid's journey besides just discovering his yang metal powers. I wrote this during the pandemic, by the way. So like there were a lot of things happening, you know, Asian hate, you know, police brutality, that I really wanted to express through my art form. But the thing is though, when that happened, things changed so fast. People are forgetting all of these other political stuff. So that was challenging to take that out and be like, hey, this isn't relevant as much. So I think sometimes even starting over stories was the hardest part. I had to let go of a lot of things. And as Devon knows, I have a hard time letting go of things. That was the hardest part, just letting it go.
How do other media forms like movies, traditional comics, or novels influence your WEBTOON creation process?
Yeah, so I think Marvel movies actually influenced a lot because I saw there was 2 worlds that I was specifically fascinated with. Obviously, if you see Marvel, you see Infinity Gauntlet, but what you don't see in there is that there's like these entities, you know, like Eternal, which is just like a concept, right? Infinity was just a concept. And how do these people get their powers? Like, I'm tired of seeing people just getting bitten by something and then they get a power. Like, I saw this as an opportunity to say, like, hey, each and every one of us are born on a certain time, day, and year, and we all have a special, unique power based off of that. But if we only knew it, we could actually practice upon it and increase our powers and know our weaknesses so we could become better.
I'm a big believer in the more personal your art is, the better. So I want to thank you so much, Kevin, for putting so much of your love and soul into this. And it's now available on WEBTOON. Sign up, leave a comment, boost up that algorithm.
Exactly. Does anybody have questions for even any of the
Don't be shy.
WEBTOON creators or writers here? It doesn't have to be with me.
When you were creating the comic, what mode were you in? Meaning, like, did you do it when you were alone completely? Did you have music playing? What was the vibe?
It was a studio apartment, 500 square feet, one candle, dark, first floor, facing a pool, loud people around. And I just played some YouTube videos on like Chinese astrology, and then I just turned it off and started writing. Yeah, that was the way I got into it. So I wasn't really expecting to get up on stage and do this, but I felt inspired. The one movie that really inspired me to do this today, and I think we've seen it in the Asian community when there was a gold opening and a gold house, and the whole community rallied, and we could see us on screen. The one movie that really inspired me actually recently was that movie Dumb Money. I know it sounds really ridiculous, but it's like people just liked the game stock. No other reason. And then a community built it and made it explode. I just feel like with Asians, we have the power and the attention and the ability to do it. I'd like to see us choose to use that power and ability to do it, to support and to watch other people's content that is ours, whether you know, like the person or not. It's just because you like being Asian. For anybody who's super fresh though, we're gonna go into our app store and you're gonna look at WEBTOON. You're gonna download it. So you can do this along with me if you haven't already. You're gonna open it. I'm gonna sign up with my Google. Shoot, you're gonna see all my accounts. This is very personal. That's why I brought you guys all here, because I trust you. I trust you're not gonna tell anybody. I have 10 different accounts for 10 different things. And here we are. You're gonna go search. There's the boy right there. And then what's great about it, you can scroll, so it's scrollable. Do you guys see the little top button that says subscribe? Do me a favor, hit the subscribe right now. Thank you. And then what's great about this is you'll get to see and scroll and the artwork, and then you're gonna see different realms and demons. And there's Taejin, his first appearance. So I'm showing this to you because I would love is that I hope you guys love this as much as I did making this and bringing this to you. So I'd love it if we could just share. If you love it, please, I'm not gonna force you if you don't like it, but if you do, share, keep watching it, because the more people that watch it, the more content we can make and I can make for this audience, for the younger generation, for the young growing Asian men and Asian women who just need role models from different role model sources other than TV and film. So I think webcomics can really help a lot of people, inspire them, make them feel confident about their identity, race, and who they are. And so thank you for all being here, and I seriously super appreciate it.